Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now for those of you that are new here, my name's Mel and I make videos all about self-built camper vans. I try and inspire people to have a go, build their own vans, get their old work van, turn it into a camper and go off and have some adventures. And I always try and emphasise on keeping things simple and keeping things safe. That's why I'm a big fan of portable power stations. And just recently I made a video featuring the brand new Bluetti Apex 300 and I installed that power pack into my Mercedes Sprinter, and rightly so. A lot of people commented on that video asking me what I do with all my old Bluettis once I've finished making videos about them. Well, the fact of the matter is I keep them, well, most of them. Some of them I give away, just like this little Elite 30 V2. I will be actually giving this away to one of you lucky people out there, and to get your hands on this, all you need to do is make sure you watch this video all the way through. I will be using what 3 words, and occasionally you'll see one word flash up on your screen. You need to write that word down, and at the end of the video you'll have all 3 words. Then you can go on the what 3 words app, type those words in, and it will give you a specific location here in the UK. And all you need to do then is write that location down in the comments section of this video, and in a couple of weeks time I will pick a random person from the comments in this video. I'll get in touch with you and I'll send you this Elite 30 V2. Just don't tell Becky, because this is her favourite one. She carries it around the house with her. Rather than using an extension lead to charge her laptop, her phone, her camera and whatever, she uses this. So I might get in a little bit of trouble for doing this, but never mind. One of you guys are going to be really lucky to get your hands on this. Now back to that original question, what do I do with the rest of my old Bluettis? Well, like I mentioned earlier, I do actually use them. Just take a look at where they are right now. Well, as luck would have it, it is a really nice day today, but nevertheless, during the winter when the sun is low and I haven't got much power to charge my power station in either of my vans, that's where this little tiny medium ranged AC 180 comes into play. Because this is quite lightweight, I actually carry this out of here. I put it in my Sprinter and charge it using an EV charging station. Then I bring it back here, put it in my workbench, and it's perfect for running my track saw, my chop saw. I even plug my Hoover into this, and occasionally my little air compressor goes into this as well. Because it fits underneath here, I've even used my soldering iron. You get the idea. All my power tools can run off of this. After all, it has got a 1800 watt pure sine wave inverter built into it, which makes it the perfect portable power station for running my little workshop. Now, talking about my Sprinter camper van, we'll take a look at that in a moment, but first let's take a look at the other van in our fleet, Rebecca's van. And here we have Rebecca's little Transit.
And my amazing van is actually powered by the AC240. Now, the way that we had to fit it in this van is actually on its side, but it works perfectly and I couldn't be happier. It's an amazing bit of kit. And it's still at 59%. Oh, that's brilliant.
And here we are underneath the bed of my Mercedes Sprinter camper van. I have the Apex 300 coupled to the B500K expansion battery, and between these two they give me plenty of power. I literally have no more power anxiety issues even during winter months, because I can charge these really quickly using an EV charging station. And you can see up on the wall there, that is the hub 1 that is plugged into the expansion battery, and that is what gives me my 12 volt DC power, and plenty of it too. And I have to say, I can't recommend this enough. The Apex 300 really is the apex of power banks, especially for camper vans, as cheesy as that may sound. Now, prior to fitting the Apex 300 into my Sprinter, I used to run with an AC200 Max along with a couple of expansion batteries. Well, the AC200 Max is now giving me power here inside my off-grid lockup. Here it is down here on the floor, and hopefully one day I will be able to fit solar panels to the roof of my lockup, and this will become a permanent feature. After all, it has served me really well. This has been in my Sprinter for a good 4 years, and done well in excess of 30,000 miles. Which brings us nicely on to the next question. So Brian asks, how do you think the Bluetti units will survive the vibrations and shocks that come from being in a van that's moving about? And like I say, that is a valid question as well. Thank you, Brian. And it is something that I was concerned about. But when you think about it, the power stations are marketed as portable power stations, and they are very well built. Like I said earlier, the Bluetti AC200 Max that I've just taken out of my Sprinter has done well in excess of 30,000 miles. And the AC300 that's here inside my Vario has just been to Scotland and back. And I think we did just around about 2,000 miles. And believe me, this Vario is a proper bone shaker. So if the Bluetti AC300 can survive that trip, I'm pretty confident it can survive anything. Thanks for the great question, Brian. This question is asked by Rory among many other people. Just say this is a really popular question. Hi Mel, can you explain to me or even include the type of cable, please, for how to connect the Apex 300 to an EV charger? This is really difficult info to find online. Thanks, video hyped. Well, thank you, Roy, for hyping the video. And if you're enjoying watching my content, then please do hit the thumbs up and the hype button as well. It's a new feature that YouTube have brought out to let them know that you enjoy my content. Right, let's get on with answering this question. How do you connect up an Apex 300 or any other power station for that matter to an EV charging port? So let me grab the cables and I'll show you how it all works. Now, if you own a camper van, the chances are you also own a shore cable like this, and this was usually used when you stay at a campsite to hook your camper up to shore power. One end of this cable will plug into your van via this socket, and the other end into the post with a socket on it on the campsite, and this will give you 240 volts to power all your appliances in your van and also charge your leisure batteries. Now the downside to this, of course, is if you want to stay on a campsite to charge your batteries, or in my case, my Bluetti, I would have to pay a small fortune to stay on a campsite just to charge the Bluetti. And that's why I use this cable coupled with an adapter to charge my Bluetti. Let me show you how simple this works. So we take our regular plug, we plug it in on our van like that, but like I say, this will not plug into an EV charging port, and to do that we need an adapter, and it's a simple short cable like this. You can buy these on Amazon. You simply plug your regular shore power cable and this converts it into an EV charging plug, which now this will plug into your EV charging station, giving you power to power the batteries that are in your van, in my case the Bluetti Apex 300. And when I first fitted the Apex 300 into my Mercedes Sprinter, I actually went to an EV charging station to see how quick it would charge and how much it would cost. If you want to see that video, I'll link it at the end of this video, purely for your viewing pleasure. But I know what you're all thinking, well, what goes on the other end of this? To show you that, let's head over to the Vario. It's a lot easier over there. Now what I've got in the back of the Vario is exactly the same as what I've got going on underneath the bench inside the Sprinter, except the Sprinter is a little bit crowded and the Vario we've got a little bit more room, and it's just that little bit easier to visualize. So here we have an RCD unit. This is purely for safety. After all, we are dealing with 230 volts and it could get potentially a nasty little shock if you don't know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, you don't understand electrics and how they work, I strongly recommend getting a professional to do this stage of your build, purely for safety reasons. So the RCD unit is like a trip switch, it's like a fuse. It's what you'd find in any domestic dwelling, and attached to this is our regular socket here, and this is where you plug your Bluetti in and charge it using an EV charging port or a campsite electric hookup. Hope that makes sense. Right, it's starting to rain now. Let's jump back undercover. Hi Mel, do you know if the B500K expansion battery is compatible with the AC300? Cheers, Tony. Well, Tony, if you go to Bluetti's website, and I'll leave a link in the description of this video purely for your convenience, you look up B500K, and this goes for any of their products, by the way. You find the product you want, and at the bottom of the page you will see tech specs. It's a little button, you click on that button and all the specifications for that product will come up. As you can see here, I've got the B500K up on my screen. We scroll down, compatibility, it is compatible with the AC200L, AC200 Max, AC300 that interests us, and the AC500, and of course the Apex 300. And as a side note, it's also compatible with the B300K power expansion battery. So if you've got a B300K expansion battery, you can add the B500K expansion battery to it, and that really interests me because I've got the B300K battery here in my Vario. So if I was to take my B500K out of my Sprinter, bring it over here, plug it into the Vario, that will give me a huge amounts of power. Thanks for pointing that out, thanks for the question. And yeah, I'm really fascinated by that. That's going to totally put an end to any power anxieties I've got throughout this winter. Absolutely fantastic. And like I say, I will put a link in the description of this video to their website purely for your convenience and anyone else out there that's worried about compatibility. Just look up the product you're interested in, scroll to the bottom of the screen and you'll see tech specs and you'll find everything you need to know right there. Fantastic. I never knew that. That's great. Now it's probably worth mentioning that Bluetti are having a massive Black Friday sale right now. They're offering up to 56% off of some of their products, meaning you can save an absolute fortune. So for that reason, I will leave a link in the description of this video. Go check them out. You could save yourself a pretty penny. Right, on with the next question. And our next question comes from Carl's Adventures. Hi Mel, thanks for another great video. Thank you, Carl, you're absolutely welcome. I'm currently looking at buying a Bluetti Charger 1 for my camper van. However, it's a 1991 VW T4. Fantastic vans. I have a 600 amp starter battery. I was just wondering, will I risk blowing my alternator up with the draw of 560 watts that the Charger 1 uses to charge the power station? Many thanks. Well, Carl, that's a really valid question and you're absolutely right to be concerned about putting so much strain on your old alternator. But the great news is the Bluetti Charger 1, because it is compatible with a wide variety of power stations, not just Bluetti, you can actually change or control the amount of volts coming out of your Charger 1. And by dropping the volts, you're dropping the watts as well. And by doing that, you're relieving the strain on your alternator. For instance, I just fitted a new alternator to my Sprinter, but it was a cheap aftermarket alternator. It wasn't a legit Mercedes alternator, so I was a little bit worried about putting too much strain on that aftermarket alternator, so I simply lowered the voltage on my Charger 1 output, thus relieving the strain on my alternator. And it is a really simple process to do. You can use the Bluetti app. I'll quickly bring the app up and I'll show you how simple this is and how it works. Okay, so we've got the Charger 1 app right up here on my phone. I'll tell you what I'll do a screen recording and I'll put what I can see up here next to the phone. I've started my engine, so soon you'll see everything go green. You can see I'm drawing, well, my alternator is producing just over 14 volts. Any minute now the Charger 1 will kick in and you'll see exactly what's going into my engine. There we go. Now it's putting 23, 24 volts. It's going to sort itself out. You'll see we've got 200 watts going into my Apex 300. Now I know 200 watts doesn't sound a great deal, but bear in mind in the winter when the sun is low, even with 600 watts of solar panels on the roof of my van, I'm not going to get 200 watts going into my Bluetti. So I'll take 200 watts when I'm driving during the day or even at night. I still get those 200 watts going into my Bluetti power station, so I'm really pleased with that. Now, how do we change the voltage? You can see at the bottom of the screen, charging voltage is set at 24 volts. So if I click on there, you'll see I have followed the steps above. You're supposed to disconnect your Charger 1 from your power station before making these changes, by the way. So you click I have followed the instructions. Next. Now we can see, we can select our model. You can see all the different Bluetti models there. You're giving you a choice. So if you just want to set your charger one to a specific model, you can just choose there, or you can go to custom, you accept the disclaimer, and there you go, you can actually change. So to change it, simply get rid of the 24, you can put 50 if you wanted, and then click OK. But I'm not going to click OK because I don't really want to change it. So we're going to go back to 24, click OK, and then next. No changes to save. Now if I had changed it, I would get a counter come up. It takes about 90 seconds for the charger one to reset itself. So it counts down from, I think it's 90 seconds. And once that countdown is finished, you're good to plug it back into your Bluetti power station, or any other power station for that matter. And then you can start your engine and away you go. Really is as simple as that. And there you go. You can see there, I'm putting out 24 volts. 200 watts. I hope this helps, and thank you for the great question. Right, on with the next. All right, now here's a really serious question. This comes from Eversley Owl. I was excited about the Apex 300 as a replacement for a multi-component traditional system. However, while the D1 is great for 12 volts, my understanding is that Bluetti say the users should not be plugging any form of extension into the power station. So to follow their rules, every appliance would need to be able to reach the power station itself. I'd welcome your thoughts. That is a really good question, and somebody else has took it upon themselves to answer that question. So I'm going to read that out and then I'll share my thoughts with you. I think it's just a liability thing. I don't see any theoretical reason why you wouldn't be able to have permanently mounted cabling going to the 240 volt consumer unit from the Bluetti, as long as the plug cables are rated for 16 amps or whatever the output is on one socket on the Bluetti. Now I have to say I completely disagree with that comment. It would be irresponsible of me if I didn't say you should always follow manufacturers' recommendations, and especially when it comes to electrical products such as Bluetti. Now I do believe that Bluettis themselves are 100% safe, because if you do overload them, and I speak from experience, they will simply cut out. The pure sine wave inverter built into a Bluetti will simply switch itself off. So there's no risk coming from the actual Bluetti itself. I think the risk is from the actual extension cable. Take a cable like this, for instance. If you plug this single plug into any plug socket, whether it be a Bluetti or in your house, for instance, this one plug is then divided into 4. So theoretically you could plug an air fryer into this, an induction cooktop, a microwave, an electrical kettle, for instance, and if you did that, then that would most definitely overload this extension lead, especially if it's coiled up like this. This will get hot very, very quickly and potentially could cause a fire, but that is the extension lead, not the Bluetti. So I think that's why Bluetti make that recommendation. Don't use an extension lead plugged into your Bluetti. It's the extension lead that's the risk, not the Bluetti itself. But at the end of the day, why would you need to use an extension lead with your Bluetti, especially if you mount it in your van in a similar manner that I do? After all, my Apex 300 in my Sprinter is right by my kitchen. All I've got to do is open the door and I can plug stuff directly into it. Exactly the same as I do here in my Mercedes Vario. Let me turn the camera around and I'll show you what I mean. So you can see my Apex 300 is actually built into my kitchen unit, and I've done this very deliberately. It's so that when I would use stuff like my air fryer, I can actually just get the air fryer plug and plug it directly into the power station. The same as when I use an induction cooktop. I place the induction cooktop up here and I can reach the power station quite easily because it's inside my kitchen cabinet. And of course the other great thing of having this so close to hand is I can actually plug my laptop into this. I plug my cameras directly into it. I don't have to run any cables anywhere. It's right there where I can get to it. I can plug whatever I like into there to my heart's content. There you have it, a really simple solution. Just simply put your Bluetti in a cupboard where you can get to it. Why wouldn't you? Well, by now you should have all 3 words to the What 3 Words location. If you figured it out, then simply drop a comment down below. Just simply put hashtag followed by the location, and I will pick a lucky winner later on this week, and I'll make sure you receive the Elite 30 V2 power station from Bluetti. Well, hopefully you found this video mildly entertaining, slightly informative. If you did, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching, and ta-ra for now. Thanks. Lunchtime.